Not here.
Hang on, up there. Recording is started for you.
Okay.
Dean in?
Nope, Jean is not asked to come in yet. Just running from this one.
So I lost my glasses down in Florida. We went to the St. Augustine and what was it, the Fountain of Youth thing
Uh-huh.
at Ponce de Leon.
Yeah, I've been there.
Yeah, and we went, I drank that horrible sulfur water and all that stuff. And, you know, we did a tourist thing and then we left. And I went running to catch my buddy because we parked the car and he was coming around for us and he drove right by us. I'm running, Mark. Stops the car. We all hop in, we start driving away and I want to read something on my phone. So I go for my glasses, $400 prescription glasses. They're gone.
That's always the way.
And I knew what happened. I knew they bounced out when I was running.
Oh,
So they're somewhere on the street. So
oh.
Mark said, shall we drive around and see? I said, why? So we can see where a car ran over. So I said, but you know what? I drank at the Fountain of Youth. I don't need the damn things anymore. So I haven't used them since. I just use the cheaters because my distance vision is fine. But
Do
close
you
up.
think it was the Fountain of Youth?
Oh, absolutely.
I wasn't losing your glasses.
No.
Power of
Always a
people
little bit of a
thinking.
tourist trap, if you ask me.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, I was
Well, Jean called me
Yeah,
a little disappointed.
a little while ago and said that she would try to be on time. I think we should start
Sure.
maybe and let her join.
But it makes for a great
Just in
story.
case.
So good.
Cause she had forgotten the time.
Well, so I'm in as myself here and it's not letting me in, which is interesting.
Oh.
Because I have a town account. And
Oh, the
it's
chat.
like, when the meeting starts, we'll let people know you're waiting, and I'm like, that's adorable, I wonder if they have to, look at that. I don't think she's reading glasses.
Well, since I have a cat, so I just need cheaters. And I'm perfectly good for distance.
Yeah, the same as me.
My eyes were different, so that's when I had cataracts out. They asked me what they were.
So my guess is Jean is probably, there's 2 audio links up on the website, and I think she's probably not the one we need. I am going.
Yeah.
Luckily, she knows how.
Yes.
Her
Her husband's birthday and
Forget it.
his siblings,
Yeah.
they're gonna have like a birthday
struggle with
reunion in
technology.
Indianapolis.
Even though, when I was working, I had to be.
He has one that's in the system
Kicking and screaming,
and so
and I
it
think
was
it's
important
changed,
to be there.
right in front of our eyes, every
And
day,
they're
it's
coming-
gonna change, technology, it's still, it
Well, she gets.
She does.
Gathering on Saturdays.
was good, Saturday was about 20 people,
I'm just gonna send
yeah, I'll be
Jean
recording.
a
It
quick
went good.
note, because I think there's a chance she's probably sitting in the other one.
Everybody there
wondering why
had
you
good
are.
energy and,
And then we've gotta get them to take down the duplicates, because this happened to me
I was gonna
before.
bring my son and his friend. Also, I
Oh,
got an email from my grandson.
Whitney isn't here yet.
Who's running.
Whitney is on
Gonna
vacation,
arrive right
Oh,
around,
she is?
like a half an
Yeah,
hour after your
that's why I'm
program
running this.
started.
so you got stuck with me.
And his girlfriend, so I figured, oh.
And then she'll
darn it,
take our
I
minutes from the
wanna
recording.
hear you sometime. I wanna see this.
I can't
I
remember.
mean, I use my notes a lot. I mean, I think the program is a good program that the extension does. You know, that's the material was very good material, I just laid it out. The pictures
Oh,
were
wait.
good too.
And Jerry's pictures and.
Yeah, Jerry's pictures actually were very popular.
We're gonna have him report.
Yeah, his pictures were very popular. And some really good ones.
Send a message to her.
Oh, you went.
That I can't get into
She
my
was my clicker.
account account for some reason.
No.
Okay.
So the AV as it shows in Dale is a little rough.
Yeah, well, I'm gonna send it.
Is it?
here.
Yeah, I mean,
It's letting me
the
know.
lighting is kind of weird and, everything is, it's just, it's a.
No, because I
funky
don't
look.
have the link on my
I mean,
phone.
if they're gonna.
By the
keep that
time I
as an
find it and get the right one again, I'm like, well,
Place for meetings and stuff like that, they'll probably need to invest in some AV, really get
but if
some.
I send it from my
I
tab.
mean, that screen is set back in that wall, it's dark. The lighting wasn't really good. And I played with the lighting for like an hour, trying to figure out what was the best. So, you know, that's why I'm glad we had a smaller group so they could all sit up front to see it. Sitting in the back, you wouldn't see it very well.
Yeah.
And then the clicker, I was on the podium off to the side. And the clicker didn't have the range, so I had to have Shirley be my clicker. She was my clicker. It worked. It worked fine.
You only had to remind me a couple times.
No, I mean, you know, we're not professionals. We're just
Right,
All right.
homies.
it was very good.
I just sent that to Jean, so hopefully she gets it.
So you think we should,
It's up to you. Yeah, I mean, you can,
or you wanna
it's
wait?
your, no, it's your meeting. I'm the steering partner.
Well, we'll open the meeting at 7:05. And, or attendance, we don't really have to, state our name today because we don't have anyone on Zoom yet.
But we could introduce ourselves to Vinny if he has.
That, yes, that's what I was gonna say. Yes. Benny, thank you for coming tonight. We're glad you
Yeah,
can
no
be
problem.
here. And I'll let people go around the table so you'll get to know the Conservation Commission. Start with you, Carol.
Carol.
Carol Wyman,
Hi, I'm Jay Wellens.
Shirley Green.
Ed Rippey, Tom Claus.
I'm Kate Plumley Stewart. I'm the select board rep to the Conservation Commission.
Hi.
And we'll let you go first because we know you may not want to stay on to listen to our minutes and stuff, so we always let guests go first. Thank you for coming.
Yeah, no problem. It's awkward because I know I'm the only one on a big screen there, and you're all looking at me in the same room, so that's kind of weird.
okay, we're looking there, but we're hearing here. So,
I'm not sure where to start. Like looking for background or what I'm. Because Rob just told me to join this meeting, so.
Oh,
I'm
you
here.
did? Well, I would say, you know, you can tell us a little about yourself if you'd like, but tell us what you know about the job and how you foresee it and so forth. And
Well, Enfield is a lot more active than I expected it to be, which is a very good thing. And I have started to really look into the waterfront conservation. I'm trying to help come up with a plan for the septic regulations for the waterfront properties. And yeah, it's just still trying to get my feet wet. Now, instead of dipping a toe, I got my foot in, so.
Vinny, so Ed kind of gave us an overview at Select Board, telling us that you have already held this role elsewhere. So I think one of the reasons they invited you so early on to conservation is our intent had been to have the previous individual talk to us a little bit about, especially in the health inspector type role, how it might interface with conservation vis-a-vis things exactly like the septic, like potential contaminants coming from households. So I think that was where the original ask stemmed from, if that helps at all.
Mhm.
Okay, that makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah, thank you for filling me in there, because I was just told, hey, there's a meeting.
Yeah,
you should-
on the fly. No, and so that was partially
Show
me
up.
being like, oh yeah, we can have the health officer come. And then you joined us and I was like, surprise.
Yeah, yeah, because that's what we wanted, the connection, you know, between conservation and the health officer.
No, it makes a lot of sense, especially with the things going around Enfield. And I'm more than happy to, join forces, so we can come up with a great game plan.
Hey.
Yeah, the last year, I was the health officer for Claremont. It's a little bit different over there than it is here, which is good. I like working with Enfield better. Claremont's just dirty.
Uh-oh.
Now, there's
Not in a really bad way. It's just comparatively speaking. So I've had experience with trash, various housing issues, public safety issues. I am trained with the Department of Health and Human Services. I'm also ServSafe certified, but that doesn't really do much here, which I don't know, I'm stumbling over words. The whole recording has got me thrown off.
Okay, well, I think, and it's right, you're newer to the role, and, you know, when we talked about having, the previous occupant of this post come in, it was really a lot about septic and talking about, stormwater contamination and runoff and, you know, how the health officer's role plays into that. So like a failing septic system anywhere in town, not just on the waterfront, and how it could play in downstream. And so we could always revisit this too, you guys.
Yes,
Yeah.
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 I'm sure in the next few months, there'll be a lot of talk about the septic.
Yeah,
system.
and I know Ed started to craft it. We gave approval to go to legal counsel. And the Conservation Commission had previously kind of given their general blessing to the concept. And so right now we're waiting on legal counsel's approval of wording and also what the fines might look like, because they're most likely dictated by the state. So, have you worked with a septic regulation before?
Not too much, because Claremont was mostly city water.
Mm.
So we didn't have, if there were any sewage issues, that was handled by the Public Works Department. So I'm a little bit green on the septic, but I'm absolutely, getting in there and learning what I can.
I mean, we are too, right? I mean, most of us have septics, but
Right.
that's our only qualification. So this is an attempt at working, on kind of, I call it the Swiss cheese of layers of
Mhm.
protecting environment and natural resources here.
Mhm.
And it's something the committee has talked
And it's
about for a
nice.
long time.
Yeah, it's nice for us to be familiar with what the health officer does, and because of our goals with conservation, it's good for us to be able to understand and work together.
Yeah, I agree. I think, the health of the land, the water, the wildlife, it all overlaps with the health of the public health of the people. I mean, it all has to go together. So, we need to work together. I mean, the more you know what our role is, I think, that's gonna be a good thing.
And we may be coming to you at times, or, ask you to come again too, sure.
Oh, no, that's totally fine. I'm more than willing to help whenever needed.
Great, that's good to hear.
So you're the building inspector also?
Yep.
Okay, so that's like two big jobs, isn't it?
Yeah, and I'm also a fire inspector too.
Oh.
Yeah, Phil bestowed some responsibility to me for that, so
Okay.
yeah. Now I got three hats.
Wow.
Um,
Yeah. So you're learning on the fly too, learning new stuff too.
Yeah, that's the thing with this position. It's always evolving. You're always learning. Just when you get used to regs, they change every 3 years.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Now, did Claremont have any waterfront?
Connecticut.
Just
Yeah,
like
okay.
Connecticut and the Sugar River, and it was maybe a couple 100 feet. Not a
That's what I thought.
That's all, wow.
Sugar River.
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm,
Yeah, but there's no beach or anything.
Yeah.
mhm.
Yeah, we got a lot of water here.
Yeah, we do.
Yes.
We're blessed.
Yeah,
We just like to keep it healthy water, good water,
Yeah.
best we can.
So what are your goals for the position?
Just make Enfield a much better place. Keep it looking great, and help out the community. Yeah, just keep things.
You started, I mean, really recently, like, is it the last month?
Yeah,
I don't know.
he was here last,
The
just
two meetings,
barely,
two
I
select
think,
board
the
meetings
last
ago,
meeting.
and they announced your
And
name.
that had been the meeting that,
Yep.
the former health officer was going to speak at.
Yes.
So we had hoped to meet you and get to know you.
Yeah, I think that was, yeah, it was
July,
last week.
because we had a later meeting in July.
That's good.
Well, we thank you for coming.
Yeah,
Yeah.
welcome.
Nice to meet you.
It's nice to
Thank
meet
you.
you.
Nice to meet you all too.
Welcome to Enfield.
Thank you. One day I plan to actually live in Enfield, so I'll have to be on Teams.
It is very nice here.
It is. It is. The last few weeks I've spent there have been really nice.
Good.
Super.
Cool.
You can hang out with us, but you don't have to. I would bounce.
Well, based on that suggestion, I'm probably gonna bounce and
Totally understandable.
Yep.
Thank you so much for taking time.
Thanks for your time, Vinny.
Rob, nice to meet you all and hope to talk soon.
Thank you.
Well, thank
Forward
you.
to seeing you again.
Good night.
Bye.
That's hard. Kind of felt like he was on the spot there.
Yes,
there's
kind of hard, because he hasn't been on the job long, and
Yeah.
and evidently he, wasn't really knowing what we were expecting.
Yeah.
And I guess we just wanted to, make
Say
contact
hi.
with him.
Yeah, I think it's.
Put a face to the name, so.
So, yes,
It's hard for him to tell us about his job, because it sounds like his job is evolving as,
yeah,
from the beginning.
Yeah, it does sound like that.
Yeah,
right.
like he has prior experience, but he's learning about Enfield and how that role
Right.
works here, so.
So,
We
Let's
can
go
always
into
have
the
it
minutes.
back if you need it.
absolutely.
of July 11th. Um, right here, a motion. Are
So moved.
there any additions, corrections, or,
I didn't see anything. No, they look good. They're very good.
right? So we have a motion to approval.
Make a motion to approve them.
Second,
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Anyone opposed? So we've had our discussion with Benny. Now it's up, the select board report.
Just a second, I'm taking your statutorily mandatory very rough minutes.
Well, we're waiting for her.
Oh, you have public comment, you skipped over too.
We don't have any public,
I was gonna say,
not that I, there's no one up there, is there?
I don't see anybody.
nope.
I'm just gonna say, no public.
On Lakeside Park, how did they get to, use asphalt in the parking lot?
Oh, I forgot myself.
They say that because of the ADA requirements. That's why it was, I'm not a.
That probably makes sense.
That we were told you can use some packed gravel, but also there was a discussion on if you have loose material that the silt can run off into the lake too. So, because I had asked the same question.
Yeah. It wasn't in the plan in the beginning.
Yeah, because we, asked to do that in our driveway, to, put asphalt, and they said we couldn't because we were too close to the lake.
Yeah.
So when I
That's what-
saw that going in, I was like, it didn't make any sense.
And why did they just pave Muskoma Lake Park?
Yeah, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, oh, that's what you're talking about. I thought
So
it was-
in
I
order
thought it
to
was the
stripe
other
a
one.
handicap spot, it has to be paved. I know that. Because we asked the same question potentially for Johnston Drive to make it handicap accessible. And that was kind of new to me. So you can mark it handicapped without a paved stripe spot, but it's not enforceable at all. So I've had some interesting learning along the way myself. You could ask though, who is overseeing that now? Is it Rob? Is Rob the liaison for the Lakeside Park group or is it Ed?
Ed is.
Ed is, okay. You could ask Ed because he would tell you how it was
Yeah,
done.
he's who
If
I
they had
asked him.
Special permissions.
I asked him that. Right away.
Did you, what did he
Because,
say?
it's not lake friendly to, have it paved, but
Yeah,
he said that it had to be for the, it was required for the ADA access.
basically nowhere you drive that isn't grass or plants is lake friendly.
Okay, that answers that.
Select board report, really last board meeting, we spent most of our time on the septic health order, so. You heard me just say with Vinny that we sent it on to legal counsel. It's largely unchanged. The major change we made was adding George Pond because of the area. And so it's Spectacle Pond, Crystal Lake, Mascoma Lake, and George Pond are listed in the.
Where's
draft.
George Pond?
George Pond, if you look on the map right there, see below Crystal Lake and draw straight down.
Cold.
Further up, the bigger one.
Oh, yeah, yeah.
Right there.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So George Pond has folks actually living on it, whereas Full Pond and Smith Pond has a couple homes, but not, it's largely conservation land.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
so that was added, and then there's obviously still the question of penalties, and, you know, a lot of the discussion centered around folks being concerned about being able to pump every 3 years and whether it was fair and how you measure fairness and how you measure how much time they're there. And of course, that's all very complicated, right? It's much more even to go straight across the board. The board opted to send it along to council the way it is. So with a 3-year pumping requirement. So we'll see what comes back. And then there will be, this was not a public hearing, this was just a regular select board meeting. So this will be a something that comes back in draft form from legal with their suggestions. And then we'll have a public hearing that will be well noticed and I'm sure very well attended. It was a very different meeting this time than the first time. The first meeting was very, the majority of people really wanted a septic regulation and as a health order. And this time there were quite a few people who had kind of come as neighbors with concerns about not being there all year and people who might not be able to afford it. As a town, we have a health officer, obviously, in place, but we also have we have a human services officer, which the old name was welfare. And so the human services officer would work with anybody who is truly unable to afford, because no one wants to pay for this. Like paying for septic and sewer is like super not fun, right? Like paying taxes isn't really fun. So, you know, there's a question between not fun, I don't want to, and I can't afford. And so that would be, that can be sorted out by an official position, by somebody qualified using actual data. So I'm not so worried about that. I did listen to a lot of the feedback and I know the other board members did, but we chose to send it on as is for legal counsel. And obviously we'll be revisiting it. Hey, Jean.
It's there.
Okay, you just, Jane. And yeah, so, and I don't know if you guys had sent comments on to Ed or anything, but that was kind of. That was kind of mostly it for the meeting, and we approved some other small items, but I don't think they're major consequence.
Well, we just pooled together some local residents,
Mhm.
Crystal Lake, with septic check is the name. I just had my septic complete system done checked, $265.
Oh, they were saying like 800 to 1,000.
I know, $265. We had like 5 or 6 of us all signed up, so they're in the area already. They're doing like, you know, they had two inspectors. And the guy who came to my house was excellent. He was really thorough. You know, I'm gonna get a full written report at the end, because we, you know, pulled together. You know, got it to be really, you know, because people are complaining about the cost of getting the inspection. Every 3 years, $265. It's
That's
a
pretty
little,
good.
little easier to swallow.
That's that email that Dan Reagan sent out,
Yeah,
saying that the more people that do it with this company, the lower the price will be.
right. So, you know, going forward, maybe it's something that we can kind of spearhead, that let people know, you know, all right, you got inspection coming up this year, septic credit, you know, check, you know, is gonna be here this date, the more
Maybe
people that do
more
it.
would be interested in
Yeah.
doing it, if we have the, accept, this health thing is passed, then maybe more.
Yeah, and while the town doesn't endorse like individual companies, we can share information about what residents are doing, right? Like,
Right.
we can say to people, Crystal Lake banded together and did this and it's available too.
Cause this went out to the whole association,
Right.
yeah,
That's great.
but,
I'm
and
sure
hopefully people were real. Cause that's a great deal.
Hey, yeah, I jumped, well, you know, I was very happy because my system was over 30 years old. It's perfect.
That's very
Absolutely
good.
nothing wrong with it. I guess it's the old, I'm not a septic person, but I guess it's the old stone and.
Stone and pipe?
Yeah,
I have a stone and pipe that's brand new and it's they last really, really well because there's no mechanicals.
right. Yeah, so it's not the wrapped,
Takes a lot of space.
yeah, so I was so really worried. With being that old and.
So if you've treated it
Yes,
well, and
absolutely
it,
fine.
Yeah, see,
Well, no, we've only been there for 3 years.
hey, somebody else did then.
Yeah, right, exactly.
right.
Yeah.
Thank you, Tills.
Yeah, yeah.
Doing a good job.
Yeah,
You
yeah,
never
yeah.
know until it's checked, and that's good.
Yeah.
But and it is sometimes ones that haven't been used much that are.
Oh,
not
actually,
working.
it actually brings up a point is that he made some good recommendations as far as keeping your septic system running well. Like, don't dump any grease or oil in it.
Yeah.
Put it in the bag, you throw in the garbage. I don't know if we wanna like, put something in our letter regarding
Yeah.
that. Here's good septic practices.
We
to
could,
let people
because,
know.
we take that for granted.
Keep
Right.
your
I've
septic.
always, but a lot of people don't.
Right,
don't-
don't wash your.
Several people tell me they dump bacon grease down and had to have someone come and I was like, bacon grease goes to chickens.
Ah.
They love it.
a lot of people-
It's a bird food.
Right, paint, don't clean your paintbrushes and, if it's
I
like
know,
that.
yeah,
in
anything,
your sink.
chemicals, anything like that.
Right, I remember what else, just some good pointers. So it's good,
Alright, where do you clean your paintbrush then?
in a bucket,
There's some water.
woods.
But that goes to the lake too.
Mm,
That is direct, no.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
know.
Well, I think you
Not
know,
by way of the septic at least.
Boy, that's a tough one.
It is a tough one.
Like, I don't know if I
No,
want
It's
chemicals
like
in my
I
woods either.
change my car at my house, I just bring it to the car wash. I don't even want the salt.
yeah, no, yeah, you shouldn't, that's one of the
Well-
no-nos, is not to wash your car where it's gonna run into the lake.
Yeah.
You just sit there and throw it in your bucket and let it dry out. And then toss it,
Yeah, I guess you could let it evaporate.
Yeah, the brushes are, you can get some cheap brushes, that's what I usually do.
and toss the
Always.
brushes.
Just
Yeah.
throw them away. I
And
painted today.
And a nice trick, if you are using your brushes multiple times in order to not clean them, you put them in the freezer.
I have one in a plastic bag right now.
Yeah, really? And you
Yeah,
put it- you
that's
put
what
it in
I've always
Put it in the
done,
freezer.
put 'em in-
Next time you go to paint, you let it defrost for an hour, you use it again, when you're done, you put it in the freezer.
If it's really gonna be soon, you can.
You never have to clean it until you're done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Huh?
It works great. Been doing it for years. It's
Okay.
awesome.
You're gonna get to change color though.
No, I have like 6 different
Oh.
brushes in our freezer.
Don't mistake it for a popsicle.
So Jay, would you like to give us a little old home day wrap up?
Sure.
It was really great that you did so much planning and put so much time into Old Home
Yeah,
Day.
it was fun. The Chosen Vale event attracted around 20 people. It was fun. The program itself was a good program. I think I told you last time. UNH Extension, it covers 350 years of wildlife history in New Hampshire. And it just really, it's a good overview of how things have changed over time. It breaks it down in centuries. And, it starts out with, the land is pretty much forested. Then the land is not forested, we cleared every tree and we farmed and farmed and farmed. And then everybody moved west because they got sick of farming stones. And the forest came back again. And while the forest is coming and going, wildlife is changing. We extirpated beavers by like 1830. There were very few beavers left in the country, in the state, in the state. And then the whole fur trade switched to Canada. And then, everything kept coming and going. When they cleared all the land, birds came in that were not known to us, like bobolinks and meadowlarks. And upland sandpipers actually made their way inland to New Hampshire because they had open land. And then when everybody abandoned farms, the trees grew back up. We went from 20 to 30% forested back up to, I think we're at like 80 or 90%. Like we're the second most forested state in the country next to Maine. So then, the birds all the birds that moved in now are finding it difficult to be here, the birds and the animals that need open shrubland. So that's why you look up on Shaker Mountain, you know, Fish and Game is clearing land up there, creating some shrubland and some meadows, temporary meadows that are good for wildlife. So it's just about how everything changed over the course. And it talks about disruptions. We talked about natural disruptions, go way back to things like hurricanes and floods and fire and stuff. The Native Americans used fire to clear land to make hunting a little bit better. But those are natural disruptions, which, you know, no matter how bad they are, nature will heal itself. So it kind of ended in the last 50 years where we talked about, you know, what disruptions in habitat you think are the most difficult, and it basically is human disruptions. You know, when we, as I use Joni Mitchell as a basis, when we paved Paradise and put up a parking lot, you know, we've disrupted something that is pretty much permanent. You know, eventually Mother Nature will take that down, but it's more permanent than anything else. So when we do something that's kind of more permanent, you know, the message is think about it. You know, do it mindfully. You know, don't do it recklessly because we're causing problems for our wildlife. And we're also impacting our water too and the land, so.
And that's where we come in and working with
Yeah.
the zoning and planning board and the
Yeah.
conservation commission too,
Yeah.
to plan so it's a happy medium.
Yeah, and I had the maps up, the critical habitat maps, and people really gravitated to those. You know, to see where the most important, you know, land is rated in the state. And the second most, it's all tier rated. The state rates it tier 1, tier 2, tier 3. And the purple is the most critical. And if you look at it, it's all around waterways. And then the green is tier 2, a very important, not developed land, close to water, very close, because wildlife that doesn't live right on the water has to get to the water. So that's critical land. And tier 3 is supporting land. That's also not inhabited. It's colored gold, and it's very important too. So, you know, we got people looking at where their house is, looking at the critical habitats, and got them thinking about, you know, how those habitats relate to the town and stuff. So it was a good discussion. People are up on their feet, talking and stuff and looking at maps, and there's a lot of questions. It was good. It went for a little over an hour. The program was a half an hour, and we discussed for a half hour, maybe 40 minutes, and it was all very good.
It's excellent.
Yeah.
Great job.
So, the Speaking for Wildlife, UNH program now is ended, and they're moving on to something different. So those PowerPoints, I'm free to use them for any time I want. I can't really tie them into the UNH extension anymore. Because they ended that program, and, you know, they're concerned about things being updated, but I'm welcome to use that PowerPoint for other programs within the town and the schools or anything like that. So that's something to keep in mind. I wouldn't mind doing it again in the right opportunity. You know, I think it's worthwhile to keep people thinking about that. The only thing that was a little disappointing, I was hoping more younger people. There was an older crowd that was there. So it would have been good to have some younger people there, but that just didn't happen. So maybe you market it differently. I don't know. But it was good.
That's a really interesting point, Jay. Because I think, like, I asked my daughter and she was so, you know, there's so much going on that weekend. I wonder if when we're doing things, if we had like a hands-on, like a Montshire type activity that we market as a family activity that goes with the talk.
Yeah.
Because I think, like, I didn't do a great job selling it to my own child. I was like, I want to go. And she's like, I'm not going.
Yeah.
You know.
Understood.
She's 10.
Yeah.
She's 10.
She's 10, but I think she would have been interested if I had been able to like get her there.
Yeah.
But even doing, you know, some of those, you get the kids like the rocks, the sand and a cup of water type.
Yeah.
Actually, did you have the models? They have a model you
Yeah.
can borrow too.
Yeah.
Somewhere.
That's the lakes,
The lakes one.
the watershed.
Yeah.
Comes
Yeah.
from,
Not that it's a wildlife, but yeah.
Warriors.
Watershed Warriors. I used that in school. That was, yeah, if I did that again, I'd do it with little older kids. I did it with the little guys.
Yeah.
It was a little too much for
They
them.
make a sloppy mess.
Yeah, I mean, they got a little out of it, but it was a lot of work to try.
Well, you
I was-
really need someone for each activity
Yeah, you do.
Yeah.
You do.
to have it really work the best. before the Lake Association got one,
Yeah.
I used to borrow the one from New Hampshire Lakes a lot for different events, and
Yeah.
it does go over very well. We've had it at the museum, and I had it at the ice cream social one here too.
When I walked in there, I saw all the people at the ice cream social. I said, holy cow, I can have a full house. Maybe we needed, the timing was perfect, it was right there. No, it was the ice cream social and then me. But it would have been cool if more people went from the ice, maybe we needed to market the ice cream social a little bit more. And say, hey, folks, what are you doing? Do you have an extra hour? You know,
Yeah.
and you want to learn a little bit about wildlife,
We
the
should
history
do
of
that.
wildlife? Anyway, if people talk it up there, you know, that might have been a factor too.
Because we had
Yeah.
350 at the ice
Yeah.
cream. The line never ended.
Wow.
And most of us were trying to cram under the shade, so we could have told them to go inside in the shade. I
Yeah.
just didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
So, no, I think that's a really good
Yeah.
point though, because I'd like more kids to do this stuff.
Bring some-
Or even just younger adults
Five
too.
raptors.
They had them on
Same thing,
Sunday.
The same thing the next day at the Ben's presentation.
It was,
It was a good attendance. There were almost 60 people there. But, there was the older people and the younger people with small children. There weren't the in between, the 10, 8, 9, 10-year-old kids there.
Or the young adults,
Playing
Yeah.
sports.
young adults. I mean, obviously, they're not as involved in the town too. That's,
But they would have enjoyed both of those things very much.
yeah, I think, and Sundays are like, for me, you know, like, not everybody goes to church, but it's like, you go from one activity to another, and after a while, like, even at 10 years old, you're like, I think your attention span's some for
Yeah.
Yeah.
You need to have some, just family time. I know, I used to be in church all day on Sunday too.
Yeah, it's, no, and I think we
I
did
would
the
like to
market, but
be-
that was a very busy weekend in town. Oh my goodness.
uh-huh.
That was crazy.
So, and the hike went well
Well,
too.
the hike was only 4 people. It was a good crowd. I knew 3 out of the 4 people pretty well. One of my neighbors and 2 people that are involved with volunteering at the senior center in Lebanon were there. And then there was Dave,
Yes,
who
his
works-
wife came. to
he
us.
works with, the guy from Cardigan, the guy that does our trails, what's his
Oh,
name?
yes,
Craig.
Craig.
Craig, yeah, he's a volunteer with Craig, so he was pretty cool. So we got up there and I took a picture, I sent you the picture.
It's
Well, we got to meet the resident snapping turtle up there at Cold Pond. Good sized one. And he hangs out at the rock and because he gets fat, obviously.
They feed him? Is
That's-
that why he does that?
That's
How big
why.
is he?
How big is?
Oh, he's about this big.
Well,
He's good size. He's not huge, but he's good size. There was some folks there with dogs and they had their dogs on the leash. One golden retriever wanted to go swimming bad. It was hot. And that turtle was hanging right there. That turtle could get that dog a good bite.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
Yeah.
got one that size right next to my dock.
Now.
In Bristol Lake, yep,
Have you had the opportunity to?
Yeah, same
connect with
size.
Craig?
right there, looking right next to the dock.
If the two of you had the opportunity to connect with Craig? Because I had sent you that email.
Yeah,
too.
no, I thought he was gonna let us know when he wanted to do something.
Oh, okay, well, I'll get in touch with him again and tell him you're waiting to hear from him.
Yeah.
Nope.
Because I, put all 3 of you in the same email.
Right, yeah,
Yes.
yeah, I kinda expected him, I was the same way, I kinda just expected him to.
Maybe he doesn't
had
have
a
much
couple
right now.
volunteers and.
I'll let him know though.
What is the
He might
work?
be waiting till he gets.
You know what was really interesting is the guy from the Cardigan group there, he brought his shovel, a little folding shovel. He says, we asked him what he was doing. I just want to make sure some of the barways and stuff were working well. Trail was in excellent shape. And that one area, I haven't been on it for a few years. There was one area that's a little wet before you start the last. That is really good now. And all the, what do you call those? The bars that go across the trail? They're beautiful, stone bars. And the trail was in awesome shape, they were
wow.
totally bypassed the wet. And it had drained away, so it was really good.
He might have had the spring work done, who knows?
Yeah, I think so.
Anybody know what the power used to run to? You notice all the power line?
Yeah, we noticed the power. I
Where is it
do not
going?
know. I do not know.
I mean, cause I don't think it's still functional.
There was a cabin up there one time. I don't know if it had electricity.
Oh, maybe,
You still talking about Cold Pond?
Yeah, Cold Pond.
yeah. You're walking along and almost the whole trail, all the way up, you see power lines off.
It might have gone somewhere.
But it's just like a single line and then one area it's down, I think.
Yeah,
So I don't think
I don't know.
it's live.
there
but-
could be some hunting camps up there, old hunting camps
Yeah.
that maybe someone wired it.
Yeah.
Ages ago and it's just kind of faded away.
Well, thank you, Jay. I think.
Yeah,
you have a
you're welcome.
lot to,
You're welcome.
opportunity for different variety of things to do for
Yeah. Well, we learn from what we do and we make adjustments moving forward, yeah.
Does anyone have any new business?
Not yet.
Yeah.
I am working on something and that I'd like to present at some point. Because we keep talking about educating people and everything, and what we're trying to do is find a place in Enfield that we could build like an educational park. You go to different places in I'm gonna be very vague about this because I haven't done much yet, except talk to a few architects. And, you know, we'd have to, of course, raise money and whatever, but take a pond or a bog or something like that and make walkways and
I know what you mean, yeah.
little bird houses for, you know, the birds that habitate there. And, you know, kind of a thing that you especially could do on a hike or something, with children. Cause it'd be a good educational
Yeah.
tool. And I don't think we have anything like that in Enfield, do we?
What's the one off of Shaker Hill Road? Does that have labels on it still?
Oh, the,
There's
Suki Marsh Trail.
yes,
a little bit of information, not a lot.
But that might be, I mean, cause that's one where the trail itself isn't as like ooh ah as maybe going to Cole Pond,
Right.
but it's probably easier for some people to
Yeah.
walk.
It's interesting.
But we had talked about, you know, having, remember, it was Lee largely, I think, was really interested in it. And I had mentioned, you know, incorporating like QR codes. They don't work everywhere for everyone, but that link out to other pieces. But I think there's we've got so many great spots in Enfield for something like that.
Yeah, I was thinking we could start off small.
that haven't been developed, that, you know, a real nature and.
Well, I was thinking if we could start small, there's that little pond that's overgrown now between the Lakeside Park and the bridge.
Oh, the
May-
railroad
I mean,
bog, kind of that one.
Yeah,
The
it's
frog,
right-
we call it the frog pond.
Yeah,
The frog
it's
pond.
right off the rail trail. It's
Yeah.
walking distance from the school.
Mhm.
And I thought, you know, if we
It gets
could-
a ton of school foot traffic from Amy Stewart's class.
And no, it's a good,
But right now, this time of year, it's all overgrown, but if we built little walkways and, yeah, I'm gonna look into it more.
Yeah,
idea.
the vision for the Lakeside Park, that area towards that direction was to be more like that. But it's kind of gotten to, the pathways and everything are not, you know, they're just a little overdeveloped.
Yeah.
Supposedly there's
So
a
I
2 mile
actually
hike
asked
around the high
about-
school.
There is, you can ski it too.
Yeah.
I asked
How is it?
it's been a long time since I've skied it, but they run cross country and stuff out there.
Right, okay.
The kids could probably tell you better than me.
Is that at the high
I've
school?
been I wanted to check it out
Are
someday.
you a skier, Tom? Cross-country skier?
Oh, yeah.
Oh,
I
good.
do pretty much.
Do you-
I love it. It's my favorite.
I used to do.
Yeah, I like, yeah. Go to Green Woodlands?
Go ahead.
Yeah. Are you classic?
Yeah.
Yeah. You can use the thinner classic skis on it, but it had some turns that were a little, I ski more backcountry
Yeah,
with some light telly turns,
yeah,
so,
that's my favorite, yeah.
yeah.
I like
appreciate
that
it thinner,
backcountry
So for that trail, but you can definitely ski it with older classics, cause I've done it.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah,
I just-
sure.
A
Yeah.
just
little
gotta get
bit
the
more
right snow.
drop knee and a little more ankle strength, but
And some good snow, some pottery snow. Yeah.
I used to do it for gym class.
So,
But I was gonna tell you, on the Lakeside Park, I did confirm that the plantings and the tree groupings meet the specs that the committee decided on. Cause I did ask that, cause it looks crowded to me, but it does meet exactly what they laid out.
Well, it
And
wasn't
actually, the town pulled some of them out.
It wasn't the early on vision.
Yeah. But that is what the committee voted on, cause I asked the question myself. But one of the things I learned that was really interesting is that the trees, even though they're clumped and they're gonna grow at different rates. So you'll always be able to see the shoreline is the idea, because they'll shade each other, right? You want them to shade each other's roots. And they'll protect each other and grow at a different rate. So you'll still have some views. Cause yeah, I mean, I'm a big open space fan, but I get why they did it.
Well, we had walked it before, and and hope to have, signs with different things that people could, identify, kids could identify through there.
Yeah, that's kind of what I was gonna mention too, is the trails around Dartmouth Hitchcock, they have little laminated signs that identify plants.
Yeah.
Mm.
And that's kind of cool. I've enjoyed, I've walked those trails many times and it kind of helps you learn about the plants. And it's just a little bit of information, not a lot, but enough to make yourself a little bit smart.
No, that,
Well,
I like that, and I like rocks too.
Rocks, yeah.
I'm a big fan of being like,
and kids are interested.
they are.
In that. I know my 5-year-old grandson, when he left Vince Camp one day, he said to me, he described this bird he'd seen, and he said, Nina, can we stop at the library on the way home to get a book to find out what it is?
That's
And I was so happy to
Yeah.
hear him say that.
Just do it on your
My
phone.
kid saw her first
Yeah.
goldfinch today. She was very excited.
That's,
I know, they're so bright. They just really stand out when you see a goldfinch.
They really like bee
On the
balm a
mounds
lot
right
this
now.
time of year because
Yeah.
it's starting to go to seed.
Yeah.
It's a good food. So they're spending a lot of
Yeah.
time in the red bee balm.
Birds are cool.
it's a fun time when kids are interested in learning about them, and it's time to grab. So that they don't miss it.
Yeah, cool. Well, that's a great idea, Carol, and I think, there's a lot of good trails that we could use as models, I mean, places around Hanover and New London, they have some really nice places.
yeah,
that you
I
can look
need
at.
to
And
explore
Dartmouth
those.
Hitchcock, those little laminated signs, there's a lot of good models out
There's a
there.
bird garden up in Etna. That's what's it? It's like it says trailway, it says trailways and walks, but it's kind of focused on birds that you might like.
That's a good idea. It doesn't, I don't know if it's still active in Meriden, right in Meriden, if you go,
Song garden.
there's a bird garden there, it's identified as
Song
a bird.
garden?
Yeah,
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 I've been,
yeah.
you can have lunch there.
Yeah. So, yeah, that's a good idea. So that's something to work on. I mean, I think you get a lot of support from us, working with you. Okay.
Good,
Yeah, it'll be interesting.
Work on the idea and.
Hear what you find.
So
yeah,
you want one in Enfield, something.
Yeah.
yeah,
Small
I,
in Enfield.
I'd like to start small.
Yeah.
And like I said, the spot I'm thinking about is walking distance for the school kids and,
Yeah.
I want, we talk about educating and I think, hands-on is probably,
Yeah,
Mhm.
we get the river going right through town,
Yeah.
there's some potential there, right?
yeah, there are many, many different
Yeah,
spots. I've got to find out who would be the person that manages all this waterway to pick. Would I talk to Rob or who might I talk to that, would, let
No.
me
You
know?
would go to.
So the parking lot immediately adjacent to the left, there's a little piece. It's mostly like Japanese knotweed and then a telephone pole that actually belongs to the town. And then the big parking lot belongs to the Lutheran church, but that little space actually belongs to the town. So you have a jumping off point
Well,
there.
that'd be good.
yeah, just finding out where we have
Right.
access as a town, and that would be a good jumping off point. And then some of our existing trails too. I think Bicknell Brook has potential to put some education in there, that's for sure. The trail
That's
going,
very well used.
the trail going up, to Shaker, the one, I mean, that's got a lot of history there.
The other one
With the
thing is
canal.
that we've talked a lot on select board and meetings with Enfield Village Association about kind of a walkable downtown.
Mhm.
And encouraging people to walk. And so that's another thing is along, we're partnering with the Northern Rail Trail potentially to flag different species of interest because a lot of Enfield is very walkable. It has,
Mhm.
sites where we can explain how the water drove the industry here and then changed later on.
Some pretty wildflowers in the spring too, along the rail trail
Out towards
too.
Kent Street.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great, that's exciting. Any other new business, anyone else?
Oh, you sent out a message inviting folks to those 2 trips.
Oh, yes.
I would love to join the Cog Railway, but I can't. I'm booked that day. That sounds like a good one. I've never done that. I would love to do that.
That's still on our bucket list too.
Pardon me?
It's still on our bucket list, the Cog Railway. I've driven it. but I haven't.
You know, I would be nervous driving it, but I loved going up we
Yeah.
went with a group once on the train
Yeah.
and it was
I
great.
would love to go up there, but
I'm not sure I'm not sure I could look off the edge of a train.
Yeah.
I can hike, but I'm not sure on the train I'd make it, but it looks awesome.
yeah,
I wish I was more courageous and like. figure it out.
That's not my
Yeah.
thing.
so
We'd love to have you join us.
Yeah, it's a bad day for me too.
yeah, I just can't.
Is
do
it? That's too
Oh,
bad.
yeah, it is too bad.
Yeah. Yeah, their days fill up quickly.
Yeah.
The,
Do.
by the time I had a good feel from people who wanted to attend, a lot of the days were gone that they had given me.
Yeah.
And
You ever think of doing one in the fall?
it'd be
Doing it.
really nice. I
Yeah,
thought
all
done it
year.
more in the summer because I thought more people are around that don't
Yes,
the
live here
season.
year round. But do one then too, it'd be beautiful for the fall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That-
And
that's
the
what I was
view-
thinking.
And you can see so far from up there too. It's amazing how far you can see, and in the fall, the air would be clearer.
How about the winter one? The wind is blowing at 150.
They don't go all the way up. Yeah, they don't. It's, the wind's blowing enough up there in the summer.
I was gonna say, in the fall, it can be too.
Yeah.
You better be prepared,
Yeah.
cause in the fall, you can get anything up there. It might snow.
And I think we've really talked over our old business.
I did have one piece of news that I forgot. You may have seen the announcement on the listserv. Patty Freed made an announcement that there's a volunteer opportunity at Mascoma Lakeside Park on August 9th, 9 a.m. to 11 a.m. And so they are going to be weeding and deadheading the flower beds and doing some parking area improvements. So yeah, there's plenty of opportunity there. If you're interested, you can contact Patty Freed if you need her information. I can give it to you.
You all on the listserv, or I can forward that out.
I'm on this, so.
You on the listserv?
I'm not yet,
You're
no.
not.
Yeah, I'm not in.
Okay, then I will.
You can preserve your sanity by skipping that.
That's what I've heard.
That's why I'm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, you can get a lot of information,
Right now,
but you
it's
can
all
get a
about
lot.
assessments.
Yeah, you gotta filter. Yeah, I filter
Oh, my
through it.
God.
People page me in and I'm like, I give it the look and I'm like, okay. And I usually pass.
I belong to one of those
For-
before we moved here and,
Just praying for really
you
good.
get to reading those and after a while, you're afraid to leave your
They
house.
say that's the way it goes. We'll find out.
Yeah.
Hey,
There are a lot of great bear alerts on there.
you know,
Really?
our correspondence, it was mostly, there was nothing really we need to address. It was mostly, last month, we, saw there was a complaint about someone on Mascoma. And just got a letter from, a copy of the letter from DES that they sent to her. And, that's what it's basically. It's just, informational letters. There's nothing that we need to address at this point, thankfully. Quiet time of the year. So I guess that,
It's nice not having 100-page attachment.
Oh, did we lose?
sometimes it's,
Looks like we might have lost
I
Jean.
missed when I lost you.
Yeah, I looked up about 10 minutes ago and she was gone.
Where is she at nowadays?
she's in India. Maybe she had to leave. She, told me she hoped she'd be able to stay the whole meeting.
Yeah.
They're having.
Oh, where's she now?
Reunion, Indianapolis, meeting with, it's her husband's birthday,
Oh, cool.
and, his brother, his siblings are all coming, some from
Oh, nice.
around, and that was his wish to be able to see them. So if there's no other business, I guess,
Motion to
we can
adjourn.
hear a motion to adjourn.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Anyone here,
Tom, were you the second?
good bird behavior guys? Anyone understand hawk behavior, like sharp-shinned hawks?
Oh, you should come.
Oh, I've got, there's some drama going on in the canopy of right around my house. They've always been whistling around up high.
Yeah, government.